All right, welcome back to another episode of the J Youngblood Experience. Today I have with me Squire Redfern. How we doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, bro. I've been excited about this podcast. I know, we had some scheduling issues because you had a fight coming up, which I completely understand completely. So tell the people who you are, what you do, where you're from.
Yeah, my name's Squire Redfern. I'm from the Pala Indian Reservation. I teach classes here on the res and go around to different reses, holding seminars and trying to inspire the youth to get active and chase their dreams.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I talked to Kenny. He's the, like I said, he's the one before we started the podcast who told me I should reach out to you, get you on the pod. He said you do a lot to give back to the community and help kids, man. That's absolutely awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I try, man. I wish I had a good mentor like I'm trying to be, and I think I would have been a lot further in life if I had one. So that's what I'm trying to give back to these guys.
That's awesome, bro.
I see potential everywhere, man. These guys are very talented, just naturally.
Absolutely.
If they would put an ounce of effort, they can make it big,
Absolutely. So I'm gonna go ahead and dive in, man. You just had a fight, BKFC. Bare knuckle, is it fighting competition? Bare knuckle fighting competition?
Championship, yes, sir.
Championship, got you. And just had a fight. You went through a week. That week leading up to this, you were doing a weight cut. Then you got in, and I want to congratulate you personally on the win, bro. That was stellar. That was absolutely stellar.
Thank you,
boss. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. So for the people who may not watch fighting, or maybe they watch fighting but they don't know what goes into it, tell the people a little bit about the training and the weight cutting that goes into it. How strenuous and how hard is that leading up to a fight?
Well, you can push yourself as hard as you want to get pushed, and a lot of people just kind of, me, myself, I'm a big procrastinator, so I'll wait till the very last minute, and then I'll be like, all right, I guess I got to lose these, 15 pounds by tomorrow, or,
Yeah.
But this time that wasn't the case. I was very locked in. I was very motivated and very focused, so the weight cut wasn't so hard. I cut maybe 25 pounds from 180 to 155, but it fell off like butter, like just the training sessions. We train maybe 2 times a day. You do your own personal training, you're running your miles, and then we have our boxing training at night.
Yeah.
Just doing that alone, I dropped the weight like nothing, and it was really easy to make the weight.
Perfect, man. That's awesome to hear. So tell me this. You come from a Muay Thai background, is that correct?
I would say Jiu Jitsu. I'm a black belt in Jiu Jitsu, but started, my first fight was a kickboxing fight, so I started doing Muay Thai first, so yeah.
Okay.
A little bit of everything.
So what made you get into fighting, Jiu Jitsu, all of that? What actually, motivated you to get in?
Well, growing up on the res, there's street fights all the time, and there's always somebody that's trying to fight, and I went to a school called Fallbrook, and Fallbrook was very race-motivated school. There was natives fighting Mexicans all the time. If you didn't even want to fight, if you had long hair, you were targeted. So that's kind of what got me into it. And I was really like a nerdy kid. I still like Pokemon cards. I like Yu-Gi-Oh! I like anime, you know? So I really didn't have a choice in the matter. I was kind of just sucked into the whole race wars and everything, and I never really understood it. I'm like, man, we're all the same, that's my whole outlook. Like, we're all one people, Bob Marley, one love type stuff, So
exactly.
I never really got it, but they didn't care. Like, they seen me having long hair, and they targeted me, and I got jumped multiple times, so I was like, man, I need to start learning to protect myself out here, so that's kind of what guided me into the martial arts and actually the training aspect of it. Yeah.
So you had to learn to be tough, even if you didn't want to, basically.
Exactly.
Jesus, yeah. So when was your first, I'm not talking official fight. So when was your first official fight? And what brand was that? Were you with? Were you more like an amateur, and then you kind of built yourself up?
Yeah, it was a pro-am fight. It was kickboxing, and it was down there on the res in Paula. It was called Rumble on the Res, and I was 16 at the time.
16. Okay, so you had your first fight when you were 16, and then here you are now fighting for BKCF or BKFC. Is that correct?
Sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So what inspired you to keep going? What did you realize at a young age you were good, or this is just something you fell into?
No, like just it was an outlet for me. Growing up, I lost a lot of family members, and that was the only thing I really knew I could turn to like express myself and get all this
Hmm.
like energy out because you go through a lot on the res. We lose a lot of people, and like drugs is a big issue, and overdoses and all this stuff on the res happens like almost like it's normal. And me not having any like outlet, this was my outlet. This is what made me able to like unwind and get all
Yeah,
that frustration out rather than going to a bar and fighting some stranger at a bar,
I
you know.
understand. Yeah. So, tell me this: leading up to fights, maybe a month, 2 months out, how are you preparing? What are you looking at? Are you looking at film from the other fighter? Are you getting settled for that and see what challenges they bring? What all are you doing? Are you just going through your regular training?
Yeah, I was just going through my regular training. I trust my coaches fully. They watch the footage and they tell me, this guy does this and, he has a habit of doing this. So I trust my coaches completely. They just guided me through there and we worked specific combos that we thought would be effective. He was a lefty, first time ever fighting a lefty, so that was different. Kind of
Yeah.
threw me off.
And so you say it threw you off. How did exactly did it throw you off?
In the first couple rounds, I was like real hesitant because we trained like they mimic him a lot being lefty, but actually being in there with the lefty, and it kind of like paused me a little bit. Like I was a little hesitant, and
Yeah.
then his speed, man, that guy was
It
fast
was
and
quick.
he
Yeah,
hit
I
like a
saw it in the fight,
truck.
man. Yeah. So whenever you're preparing for a lefty, do you have an actual lefty come in and help you train, or do you have coaches who can kind of go both southpaw and conventional?
Yeah, I have coaches that could switch and go southpaw and conventional. Yeah.
And do you ever do that in a fight? Do you ever switch up, going from conventional to southpaw, or you try to stay conventional?
I actually did that fight. Myself, I feel comfortable switching. I hurt my hand, so I tried to switch so I could throw my left hand as a power hand,
Yeah.
but I was still throwing my right hand. And yeah, it was like an experience. I was just trying new things. I try to have fun in there. That's the whole thing is
Yeah.
to just have fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. So how many fights, official fights, have you been in thus far?
Official, I have like maybe 5 amateur MMA fights, like maybe 3 kickboxing matches, and 3 pro MMA fights, 2 boxing pro fights, and then this is my first BKFC fight. So I'd say maybe like a handful, like 10 maybe.
Yeah. So do you feel yourself getting better and developing each fight?
Definitely. Like I said, I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. Like I would
Yeah.
classify myself as a jiu-jitsu guy. So to be standing and just banging is like kind of different for me. I want to go for the takedown or
Yeah.
I had him in
That's
the
what
clinch. And
that's what a lot of people don't understand. Whenever they are watching like UFC or some type of MMA fight, they're like, "Why don't they stand up? Why don't they stand up?" And I'm like, "There's so much beauty within the Muay Thai, within the Jiu Jitsu, and the wrestling game that a lot of people don't pick up on."
exactly. They think it's
And
boring, but there's levels to it.
exactly. No, if you actually watch, and I didn't. So when I first started watching like UFC, MMA, and Bellator and stuff like that, you're looking at it and you're like, they're wrestling again, or they're in the clinch, like, this is boring. But if you watch the positioning and how they, and I may be explaining this wrong, and if I am, please let me know. But the way, the technique of it, and then how they balance and put their weight in certain positions to kind of gain leverage, dude, it's actually pretty beautiful. It's not. I'm not even gonna lie. As soon as I started watching Joe Rogan a lot, and he started
Yeah.
explaining a little bit more, and I was like, oh shit, that makes a lot more sense. Because I was watching it, I'd watch old UFC fights with like Chuck Liddell and all that, and I see him go to the ground. I'm like, I don't even want to watch this. But now I'm watching. I'm like, yeah, that shit's hard. I understand it completely now.
Yeah, it drains your tank a lot more too than you would imagine. You think they're just like holding each other, but yeah, there's definitely weight being leveraged and all that.
Yeah. And so getting into this where it's mostly stand up, do you feel kind of out of your element, or does your training, your training camp kind of help you with that?
We worked a lot of boxing. We've been doing boxing for a while. Like I brought in special coaches that are specifically hands, like they work hands, and Um, I feel very comfortable because I've been fighting my whole life basically. So
Yeah,
like
yeah,
to me, it's just like a street fight in a cage. But
yeah,
I definitely wanted to do like MMA style. Like I had him in the clinch, and I had to stop myself from kneeing him, and like
yeah.
just the stuff that goes through your head, like natural instincts. So it was hard to kind of turn that off.
Yeah, coming from a Jiu Jitsu background, I'm sure there was a lot of instances in the fight where you had to hold yourself back, like, oh, I want to knee this dude in the nose right now and break his temples and shit like that. Did you? So you had multiple instances like that where you were like, okay, I could really hurt this dude right now, but I can't do the rules.
Yeah, exactly. I think I actually lifted my knee up to like throw a knee, but I stopped myself. Everybody was like, "No, no, don't do it."
Is that automatic TK or an automatic disqualification whenever
It,
that
pro-
happens?
it probably would have been, yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
thankful I didn't throw it. Yeah,
So tell me, how does it feel? And how long was it? 3 minutes, 5 minutes
it was
per round?
five rounds, 2 minutes around.
How does it feel to go 5 rounds and get punched in the face the entire time?
Yeah, the first couple rounds, he had all his energy, and I was eating
Yeah,
shots, and man, my head still lumped up. I don't know if you could tell, but my eyes like really, really red and jacked
I could
up,
see
and
it. Yeah.
yeah, he got me some good ones, but man, I had the crowd behind me, and it just gave me such motivation to keep going. Like the second round, I believe it was, he punched me straight in my eye, and my whole vision went black. I could not see out of my eye,
Jesus Christ.
and I kind of freaked out. I thought my eye was hanging out of my head. I was
What do you do in that situation? Do you just kind of stay composed? I know you're in your head. You're probably freaking the fuck out. But whenever you go black and you get hit like that, what are you doing? Do you immediately put your guard up? Are you moving around? How do you go through those motions?
I was trying to put on a game face. The ref was like, "Do you want to continue?" And I was like, man, of course I want to continue, like.
Yeah,
But it
you
was
can't go out
definitely,
like that.
yeah, exactly. If I could have took it as a way out, but man, I couldn't do that. That's not me. I'm
Yeah,
not I can't quit. I want to
yeah.
on my shield or on it. So it
No, and that's a
definitely,
big platform to be on too. That's a big platform to be on, especially with all these like Conor McGregor's endorsing it and all these other celebrities endorsing it. That's a big platform.
yes, sir.
Did you feel a lot of pressure coming out, like walking down? Did you have those butterflies, or was that back in the in the back room?
Yeah, it's weird. Like I never really get so nervous as to like butterflies or knee shaking or like throwing up before the fight because I hear a lot of
Really?
fighters, they
Yeah.
be getting sick before the fight and stuff, and me, I'm just like, let's get this over with. Like, man, it's like you know,
Yeah.
but I
No,
wasn't
Mike.
too
Mike.
nervous.
No, go ahead.
I wasn't too nervous at all. No, sir.
I got you. Mike Tyson used to talk about. He was like, before every fight, he would cry. And somebody asked him, it's like, why would you cry before the fight? Like, what was the point in that? He said, I wasn't crying for me. I was crying for my opponent out there because I knew I was going to hurt him.
Yeah, Mike Tyson's a different breed, definitely. And man, I definitely felt bad for my opponent because I banged him up pretty bad, and I like me. I'm not like I don't know, like a bad person to where like I take glory on that. Like that could have been me. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I try to take it with a grain of salt. I definitely felt bad for the dude.
Dude, that's crazy you say that. That is insane. You seem like such a nice guy. Like I'm just telling, like you seem like such a nice guy, very well rounded, humble, soft. But in there, you tore his ass up. Like, how do you switch that on and off?
Yeah, it just going through so much, man. Like I like lost my mom last year, and there's
I'm
just like
sorry to hear that, man.
so much like personal stuff going on,
Yeah,
and that's my place, the only place I can get it all out. So I just
yeah,
channel all that energy, and that guy wasn't even that guy. Like he was somebody else in that moment, and
yeah,
it was just like definitely I was in my killer mode.
yeah. You
But
just get in a different mode. Yeah.
exactly. But after the fight, I felt really bad. Like I seen him in the back when we were doing our medicals, and I was like, "Ah, man, like that's fucked up," Like,
That is so wild you say that because you hear so many fighters out there to fight. Like John Stones, for instance, when he fought Lyoto Machida, and he choked him out. And he's like, "Yeah, I had him in my grip, and I could have killed him if I wanted to. It was beautiful." And I was like, "This dude's a fucking killer." And then I hear you're like, oh man, I felt bad for the guy. He was busted up in medical. It's crazy to hear that coming from somebody who does this for a living.
Yeah, just the mindset my mom always raised us, like we're all human, we're all,
Yeah.
we're all one. And she was totally a hippie, so it was like I kind of took on that hippie
Yeah.
mindset, and I
Yeah.
never want to like hurt anybody or anything like that. Like I kind of feel like I was directed into this life, and if it was up to me, I'll still be playing Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh cards, like
The thing is, it's astounding to me how nice you can be and how well rounded and humble, and then also go in there and be an absolute fucking killer, man. It's a sight to see. It's not. It doesn't happen often. You don't see that with many people.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So after the fight, how did you feel? Headaches, swelling?
Right after the fight, I felt great. Like I finally got my win. I lost two back to back in pro boxing. I didn't have any boxing experience, and I just went straight to
Yeah,
pros. So that was kind of stupid of me to do. But I really wanted this win, so to finally get it was like I finally like got my win. So I felt great afterwards. Towards like a couple hours later, all the adrenaline wore off and my eye was just throbbing. My hand was swollen like a balloon, and they're all trying to go out and party and everything. And I'm like, I just want to go to my room and go to sleep. Like,
yeah. What made you want to get into BKFC?
it was the opportunity, and again, like I was going through a lot, and I was like, I need the most violent. Like, who's gonna hurt me? Like, I wanted to be hurt. I wanted to hurt
Yeah.
somebody, and that was the opportunity that came across my plate. And man, I couldn't let it just pass me by.
And like I told you before the podcast, you're a bad motherfucker to want to come in there and do bare knuckle brawling, bro. That's different.
Thank you,
That
boss.
is very different. Yeah, absolutely. Now, is there anything in the future with BKFC? Like, are you under contract? Do you have a few fights with them left?
I did sign a 2-year contract with them, and the guys were saying they really liked me. The crowds were there for me, and we had the place roaring. Like
Oh, absolutely.
it was off the chain, and like just the
Yeah,
love. I don't know, Native community, we show up for each other. It doesn't matter like what tribe you're from. Like if we know another native's going to be on the card, we all show up to support, and
yeah,
that's what happened. And they really liked that. They seemed like they really liked me, so they most likely are going to have me back, hopefully.
yeah. So, what's in the future for you? Are you planning to stay with them for a while even after your 2 years, or are you planning to go back to like a jiu-jitsu or maybe an MMA?
I want to do it all, man. To be honest, like I'm a martial artist. I consider myself a martial artist, and bare knuckle really limits what I could do. It's
Yeah,
just my hands, and I feel like my kicks are good, my knees are good, my ground game's good. Like I feel
yeah,
like I could take it anywhere. So I would like to get my win in pro boxing. I'm 0-2 in pro boxing, so like I want that dub in boxing.
yeah,
But maybe after that, I want to go back to MMA because that's kind of where I started is MMA and kickboxing. So
yeah.
I want to get some wins under my belt on a good MMA platform and just keep growing, I guess.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. I would love to see some more fights from you. I mean, your technique, the quickness is. I know you said he was quick, but your timing was a little bit quicker than his for sure.
Yeah, that's what we were working on all the whole time was the timing and the ducking and the overhand because we planned a big overhand. And I
Yeah,
don't know if you've seen it. One landed, but they called it a trip. But he fell from the punch.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So now that you're, after the fight, are you planning to go back training anytime soon? What does that look like for you after a fight like that?
Well, the commission gave me a 180-day suspension for my eye and my hand. They thought my hand
Mm,
was broken. It looked like a balloon. It's fine now. I could almost close it,
it's still
but
swollen, big dog. Damn.
yeah, it's still swollen pretty bad. My eye is still
Shit.
really red. Um, and that's like a 6 month suspension or until I'm cleared. So hopefully I get cleared really really soon, and
Yeah,
I'm I'm ready to start training like this week. And I got all these kids that I train, so they're kind of waiting on me to get back there to keep training
yeah.
them. And I just want to keep the momentum going.
So the commission doesn't allow you in a gym at all?
Um, they just gave me a suspension
So
on fighting.
okay, so you can go back and train the kids and everything while you're still under that suspension.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. I got you. So what keeps you motivated, man? For someone who gets punched in the face for a living, what makes you still want to get up and get punched in the face again?
Well, it would have to be my family, my kids, like my support system, all these, I don't like to think of myself as a role model, but whether I like it or not, all these people are looking up to me and
Mm-hmm.
they do see me as such, so I try
Yeah.
to do right by them. And I could just stop now and say like I got my win, it was in the bucket list, but uh, I just wouldn't feel right because I want to keep motivating these guys because, like I said, I train with them, and I see so much talent on the res traveling
Yeah.
and seeing all these just naturally talented people, and I'm like, man, if you guys would just dedicate a little bit of your life, like we
Yeah.
can make world champions out of these guys easily.
It's cool to hear you talk about that, man. I can hear the passion in your voice when you talk about training these kids and pushing them to be better than what they may see themselves. And bringing back to that, you said you had kids. Do you allow your kids to watch you fight? A lot of people don't. Do you allow them to watch you?
Yeah, I was trying to get some the older ones. One of my kid was there, Junior Squire Junior was there, but my other ones weren't there. I have a total of 10 kids, so it's kind of hard to get all of them there. Yeah, yeah,
Bro, what? What the? So you've been fighting and fighting, dog. What
yeah.
the hell? 10 kids? How old are you, big dog?
I'm 33.
33 with 10 kids, dog? You've been active.
Yes, sir. Got to do it for the tribe, man. We're dying
Jesus
out over
Christ.
here.
I
We're
mean, I,
dying
I
out.
can't I can't really speak on it because I have 11 siblings, so 12 of us total.
Oh wow,
But
wow.
nowadays that's unheard of, bro. How did that, is that planned?
Not planned though. Kind of just happened. No TV, I guess. No cable.
Yeah, dude. Jesus, man. How do you manage all of that?
My wife is one of my big support systems. If it wasn't for her, I would never be able to train as much as I do and
Yeah,
do what I love to do. She sacrificed a lot so I could chase my goals, and I've been telling her like, "Hey, you've been in my corner this entire time. Now let me be in your corner, and you go do what you want to do, and I'll be
yeah,
in your corner the entire time." Like I want to support her like she supported me.
yeah. That's beautiful, man. 10 kids while being a fighter, getting your head busted in every fight. Jesus, man. That's crazy. That's wild.
Thank you, thank you.
And not crazy in a bad way, but the fact that you're able to do that is that's something else, brother.
Yeah, it's definitely I do it for them. I want them to be proud of me, and it's easy just to like stay at home and sit on the couch and drink my life away like that. Anybody could do that. To
Yeah,
actually chase your dreams and do what you love, like man, I'm living the dream right now, and I
for
couldn't
sure.
be more thankful, and I owe it to my wife and my support system and everybody that's helped me get this far.
Yeah, for sure, bro. You have a good one. You have a good woman by your side for sure. There's not
Yes,
many
sir.
women that would do that, man. That's awesome.
Not at all.
No, that's freaking amazing, man. So speaking on your upcomings again, so your jujitsu background, your MMA background, have you ever had to use that in real life? Did you ever have to defend you or your family in real life and use some of those tactics before?
Again, like on the res, there's fights all the time, and if you're a
Yeah,
jackass and if you hang around and drink, there's always going to be somebody that's trying to test you and like, oh, you think you're a fighter, and then it's all bad. And I had a really scary incident where somebody had their shirt off trying to fight me, and I was like, no, I don't want to fight, and I had no choice but to fight, and then he ended up in the ICU. I banged him up really bad, and it was scary for me because this guy, we hang out, we're from the same res, like, and again, I don't want to hurt anybody, like I don't want
yeah,
to change anybody's life or anything like that. So I really like it was an eye opener to how dangerous like street fights can be.
yeah,
So
for sure.
after that, it was like, man, I'm just gonna stop drinking and stop hanging out because nothing good could come of it. Really,
Yeah,
it's just like people thinking they could test you, and then you're a bitch if you don't do it. You're damned if you do.
yeah.
You're damned if you don't.
Damn if you don't. Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like people test you more since you are someone who fights for a living?
I would say yeah, because I'm only 155. I'm a smaller guy. I'm really skinny, and these natives on the res, they're big boys. Like they're really big. So of course, they're in the back of their head. They think I could take this guy. You know,
Yeah,
it's I don't know. There's definitely people that try to test a lot.
for sure. So, being someone who's in, MMA, fighting UFC, and, BKFC, do you have anybody that you looked up to as a kid who was a fighter?
Well, my dad was a boxer in the Marines and everything,
Yeah,
and the whole reason I wanted to get into the boxing aspect is to like make him proud in a sense. Like he left when I was really young. I never really got to know him,
yeah,
and like the whole thing was me like chasing his validation, I guess. And he actually came to my first professional boxing match without my knowledge. Like I was walking out the ramp and he was like, "Hey, Squire," and I like looked and I'm like, I haven't seen this guy in like 20 years, you know. And I'm like, is that my dad right there? Like, what the hell? Totally
yeah,
mind fucked me like right before I was about to walk out to my fight, and it was cool seeing him, but it was like so all these emotions started coming and
yeah,
like I didn't know how to take it, but for him to actually be there, like that's all I really wanted was him to like be proud of me, you know.
yeah, for sure. And did that mess you up mentally at all going into the fight?
Definitely, it definitely
Yeah,
did. Like the game plan wasn't there. Like I don't know, all I could think about was that, and I was trying to look for him, you know. And it
yeah,
definitely fucked me up.
yeah. Do you
But
have any UFC fighters that you look up to or someone you try to base your game off of?
I love Max Holloway. Like I love
He's a dog, boy.
yeah,
That man a dog. What he did to Justin Gaethje was disrespectful.
straight up, like man. And just him being another indigenous fighter, you know, he's from the islands, and I
Yeah.
love that. Vanderlei Silva, like I grew up watching him, the axe murderer, you know, like
He was an animal, man. Did you watch him on Ultimate Fighter against Chael Sonnen?
yes, sir.
He hated that man. He did not like Chael Sonnen whatsoever. And Vanderlei Silva is not someone to play with either.
Yeah, exactly. And now these new fighters like Alex Pereira, like his
Yeah,
stone cold look, that I was trying to mimic that look a lot and really get into my opponent's head before the fight even started. And man, it worked. He was nervous. He could not look me in my eyes, and I was just glaring at him like,
yeah.
and
A-
it definitely works.
Alex Pereira came out of nowhere. I know he was doing kickboxing for a while. Him and Izzy had some issues in the past. Izzy got knocked out by him a couple times.
Yeah.
But his last fight was that head kick. Man,
Yeah, people forget he's a kickboxer, right? And they think he
yeah.
just has hands, but man, he that head kick was
His
beautiful.
his ground game probably could use some work, but if you're standing with him, whether it's the left, the right, or if you're getting kicked, dog, that man is a menace. And the fact that he's done it so fast is absolutely insane.
Mind blowing for sure. And I've seen him talking about transitioning to boxing as well, so that would be really interesting to see.
I don't know, man. I like him. I like watching him in UFC.
Yeah,
He has something new to his game every time he comes in.
yeah, Dana's not gonna let him go.
No way. They're going to offer him the biggest contract ever, man. That dude is serious. And I've heard there's been rumors of a super fight. I don't know how true it is, but between him and John Jones, maybe him coming up or staying at lightweight, heavyweight, John Jones coming to light heavyweight again.
That would
Boy,
be a good one. John Jones is such a goat, though, man. Like,
he's the greatest, bro. That one loss, quote unquote, he has, bro, he was tearing that dude's ass up.
is
Tearing
that
him
Matt
up,
Hamill?
man. I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah. But his entire, like, only fight I think he may have lost, and he still won, was the Dominique Reyes fight.
yeah,
I remember watching that, and Dominic Reyes was jabbing his face off. Completely jabbing his face off. I know John Jones had a couple of takedowns, but as a champion, I feel like he should have showed a little bit more.
yeah,
But Dominic Reyes was jabbing his face off, dude.
yeah. That was a really good fight. Dominic Reyes trains in Temecula at Team Quest as well, and that's kind
Yeah,
of where I started my MMA career. Is right there at Team
yeah.
Quest.
And he's good. He is good. He had a couple. I mean, he left his chin open a couple times in the last couple fights. I think he went to Bellator for a while. Maybe I could be wrong. But he's actually a good fighter, man. Some of my favorites growing up, I would have to say Quentin Rampage Jackson. He was just a dog. I
Yeah,
remember when he fought John Jones. It was a good fight, but John Jones technically was way better. Anderson Silva in his prime, nobody touched that man. He was He was something else. He was John Jones before John Jones was.
Yeah, straight up.
And I have to say Conor McGregor, because in his prime, bro, in his prime, he was doing some shit that nobody ever seen. He was bringing the fans in, bro. How do you feel about Conor? A lot of people either really hate him or really love him. What's your take?
Man, I feel like he changed the sport. Like he
Yeah,
definitely changed the game, and for the better. You know, he brought like the
an entire country.
WWE. Yeah, yeah,
He brought
exactly,
an entire country to watch UFC. It was insane.
exactly.
It was insane. I mean, his piece up at the end of that Chad Mendes fight. Oh my god, it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. He tore that dude's face open, and I knew going into the Khabib fight. I was like, Khabib is, when it comes to MMA and mixed martial arts, bro, and wrestling. He used to wrestle bears as a kid.
Yeah,
I was like, Conor,
wild.
you get on the ground, bro, it's over. And he happened. I mean, he got his back and choked him out. It's just people like Khabib, people like Islam. They're just technically they're perfect when it comes to ground and pound, bro. They're not. And as soon as they're ground and pounding you, punching you in the face, you're trying to stop the punches. They're gonna get your back, and it's rear naked choke. You're done.
They've been doing that their whole life, you know. Like,
Yes, man. And then another one, probably GSP, George St. Pierre. I think when it comes to efficiency, when it comes to striking, when it comes to ground and pound, Jiu Jitsu, Muay Thai, he's sound everywhere. I think he's the most well-rounded fighter ever in the UFC, for sure.
yeah, his fight IQ is definitely up there, one of the highest.
Oh, for sure. A lot of people try to argue to Khabib and GSP. I'm taking GSP. I'm gonna have to take GSP. GSP was just a dog. Khabib.
Yeah.
John Jones has more arrests than Khabib had title fights. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, GSP was a dog, man. And then Mighty Mouse was good too. I mean, he was just,
Yeah, Mighty Mouse.
and he was super small, like 135. But the dude he did one. What was it? He jumped or something like that, and then
he had
got into a chokehold.
He had his back.
And then went to stow him, and then took him into the choke, bro.
It was an
One of the
armbar,
coolest. Was it armbar or choke?
I think it was from the back. He like threw him up and grabbed his arm midair and like landed the armbar.
Maybe so, dude. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Yeah, it was
never
amazing.
in my life. And a lot of people I hear, a lot of people like Brandon Martin on social media. He's like 6'2", 260 or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? And he'll be like, "Yeah, I could take him." I was like, "Dog, no, you wouldn't."
That's what a lot of people think, right? Like,
he's a spider monkey. As soon as he takes your back, it's over, bro.
Yeah.
It's over. It's over. And there are a lot of good fighters out there new now. Like Aljamain Sterling's good. Khamzat's good if he ever gets back into, actually fighting. I'm excited for the Conor McGregor and Chandler fight, if that does ever happen.
Hopefully, yeah.
I love watching Conor fight, whether he wins or loses. It's always a good fight. I love watching it. I'm also a big Dustin Poirier fan, but I feel like he's probably going to retire soon.
Yeah, I see him calling everybody out, and everybody like dodges him because that's a tough fight to fight, man. He's not a walkover for anybody.
No, he's a tough motherfucker. At the beginning of his career, he was still learning. I remember when Conor knocked him out or whatever. But as he gotten older, he's aged perfectly for that sport for sure.
Exactly. I could see him transitioning to bare knuckle or something because
that would be sick. Because a lot of like Chad Mendes went over to bare knuckle and fought. Is it Mike Pereira? Maybe, and he got knocked out. But a lot of people are transitioning over to that bare knuckle fighting.
They're chasing those bags, man. They're chasing the bags.
The thing is, man, I'm excited for a lot of fights. John Jones and Miocic, if that happens, or John Jones and Alex Pereira. The women, bro, the women get in there and get the fuck after it. They get the fuck after it, man. What the fuck?
Did you see the fights last weekend?
I didn't. Please tell me a little bit about it. I didn't get a chance to watch.
I missed them as well. I was healing up and everything, but I seen some highlights of Killer Rose, Thug Rose, knocking the eyelashes.
Thug Rose is a fucking pimp, man. Yeah, Jesus.
She's one that I really like.
That one Russian chick, what's her name? Damn, but she's a bad bitch too, man. Like, those women get after her harder than the men do, man.
Yeah, for real. They have something more to prove, you know. They're trying to put out for women's sports.
That shit is... I watch them and I grimace at some of the shit. I'm like, oof.
My
Like,
wife's always like,
God,
they're so beautiful. Why are they doing that? You know,
they
like that.
are, but then they get in there and they're fucking animals, monsters, and I would not want to fight any of them.
Yeah. Who's the one that just transitioned to the slapping, the slap boxing
Dude,
or the?
I know exactly who you're talking about. And she's been in everything. She's been in the UFC. She's been in the Bellator, bare knuckle, and now she's going to the slap thing. I just saw her
Yeah,
interview. Um, let me
Paige
see
Van
if I can.
Zant. No.
I think you may be right. Actually, Paige. Yep, that's her. Yep.
Yeah,
She's
she's
been
a
in
thug,
Bellator.
man.
She's been in UFC. She's been in bare knuckle, and now she's doing the slap competition or whatever that is.
I feel
These
like that's
women get after it.
yeah, straight up. I feel like that's more brutal than the fighting because that's straight rocking your brain. You know, it's
You
like
just
man, that,
taking it, bro. How do you
you're
feel
just
about that? Do you watch that at all? What is your thoughts on that?
I seen her last slap match and I felt like it's kind of like grimacing like they're just
Yeah,
standing there slapping each other like and they get rocked like she took a knee twice her opponent took a knee twice and it's like they give you a 10 count and they let you stand back up like boxing and I'm like man their brain has to be bouncing off their skull in there you know.
yeah. No, the slapping is insane, man. It's like at least in like UFC bare knuckle and all that, like you have a chance to defend yourself. And these, you're taking straight shots to the dome.
Don't flinch.
They have to do it over again if they flinch, right?
Yeah, I think so. You get a free one.
Bro, I tell you right now, I'm be honest with you. I'm the type somebody hit me like that, and it was just full on, bro. I couldn't do it, bro.
Right?
I couldn't do it. Do you ever see yourself possibly doing anything like that?
Never. I hate getting slapped. Like I would not be able to. There's a combat jujitsu, and they slap in combat jujitsu, and I'm like, man, I'd much rather just get punched. Like you
That's
slap me.
disrespectful, man.
Yeah, right. It's like, come on, man.
But no, these women get after it. I remember, excuse me. There was this one fight. There was this chick. I think she may have been Russian, and this Asian girl. And the Russian chick had a golf ball, tennis ball size welt on her head. And I'm telling you, these women sometimes get after it way harder than the dudes do, and they're so quick.
Amanda Nunez is one of my favorites for the women.
She is. She's a dog too, bro. She is a. She reminds me of Cyborg, bro.
Yeah,
The way she
Cyborg.
fights.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like
Absolute
they could take out a lot of the men. Like
They're some fucking dogs, man. And there's this new guy who just came in. He just fought recently, maybe a couple months ago. He came in from Bellator. He's a big Pokemon guy like yourself. Black dude. What's his freaking name?
I think I know you're talking about Venom Page. You talking about?
Venom fucking Page, man. I love watching that dude fight. The thing is, he leaves his damn hands down the entire fight.
Yeah, it's frustrating to see.
That just doesn't. I'm planning on him to get knocked out at any second, and it's
I think
happened before. I've seen him in Bellator. He was fighting. He was showboating a little bit because he landed a big right hook, and this guy came back with just straight right, put him to sleep on the spot.
I remember that. Yeah, that was
And
awesome watching.
it was, but I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
I think he's baiting them to attack so he could counter with because he's very fast. He's
He is
super
quick,
fast.
and he's super lanky, so it helps him with his length. But at the same time, like, what is his like? Are his coaches telling him to do this? Is this like, are you going through camp doing the same thing over and over again?
Yeah, I don't know if you ever seen point sparring karate, but
I have not. No.
that's how a lot of the karate fighters are point sparring because it's
Yeah.
just touch and go, touch and go. So whoever
Yeah.
lands the first punch gets the point. So it's like I think that's his style that he comes from is
Yeah.
the point sparring karate background. But it's so
So what?
frustrating.
Yeah. So tell me, some of the people who fight today, or maybe in the past, what was your favorite kind of stance or something that was unorthodox that you kind of liked watching?
It would have to be Vanderlei Silva, the way he walks his opponents down.
Yeah.
Like man, I just love that. I kind of mimic that sometimes as well. My whole thing is transitioning and not being too predictable. Like I think once they start predicting you. They're gonna start timing you. So
Yeah.
when I'm in there, I try to switch my stances and my styles like at least 3 or 4 different times. So I try to do it anyways, but it doesn't always happen in the fight.
Yeah.
But while training, man, I love switching my stances. I love switching my styles just to stay unpredictable.
Yeah.
And that was one that I really like doing is the Vandalay Silva one. And every
Him
time I
and
do it, they're like, "What the heck?"
Sean Strickland kind of does the same thing too. Whenever he's
Yeah,
going into the fight, I kind of have both hands up with that leg kind of cocked back, ready to throw a kick
yeah. Sean
for
Strickland's the
sure,
man too. That guy is wild.
dude. He's something else. I listened to him speak, and I was like, yeah, man, you've been punched a couple times, dog. You've been punched a couple times. Him and Nate Diaz, man, I love Nate Diaz growing up. Oh my gosh, him and Nick, I love watching them fight. It's like you can't knock them out. If I was the opponent, I would get so frustrated with the amount of punches they take and the fact that they don't go down.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like everybody says, you can't knock out a Mexican, so don't even try. You know, like there's there's no way you could do it. They're just so much heart, and their heads are so freaking hard. Like, don't even
I,
try.
every fight that man gushes blood, and it's like he doesn't. It's like it doesn't faze him at all.
Georgia Masvidal was landing some bombs their last boxing match they
Yes,
had, and he just
yes.
took them like nothing. I'm like, this guy human, you
Dude,
know?
even when he was in the UFC, like when he was facing Leon Edwards, he was taking some bombs to the face, and same with Connor. He was hitting him because Connor has that left,
Yeah,
and that left is lethal, lethal. I remember watching those two fights, and I'm like, he is taking these to the dome. And I know he went down a couple of times, and I told everybody he didn't actually go down. He's trying to bait this guy to get on, come into the ground and pound. Way he
yeah,
can choke him out or put him in the armbar. He's not trying. He's not falling because he's hurt.
yeah, definitely. I mean,
And
Connor
those
hits like
fights,
a
dump truck.
yeah,
Like
definitely.
so there was a interview with Dustin Poirier, and I don't remember who it was with, but they were asking like who hits the hardest, and he was like, it's most definitely Connor for sure. That left is insane.
Yeah, I can only imagine just watching it. You could tell it hurts, you know.
And talking about stances, his is so wide, and he always has that left or that right hand so low. It's a different style. I've never seen anything like that before either.
Yeah, I see a lot of people trying to mimic that as well now. Like now that he does it, you know.
Oh, for sure. And it's coming from a standpoint of watching, not someone who's fighting. I feel like you're leaving a lot open, but he was so quick, people didn't want to get into that guard at all.
So precise too. Like his
Yes.
accuracy is like pinpoint accuracy, and that's what I think his hands are so low is to bait them in to throw something, and then he's out of the way and countering.
Yeah.
You know, it's like man,
No, I'm a big Connor fan. I've been kind of disappointed with what we've seen recently because after that Cerrone fight, I was like, dude, he's back. Let's get it. Like I'm back because John Jones was out. Connor finally came back, and I'm like, let's go. These are my two favorite fighters. And then he's been out for a while. He fought Dustin twice, and Dustin outclassed him both times. He wasn't there. That wasn't Connor for me whenever I was watching. I felt like Dustin definitely outclassed him in both those fights, whether he broke his ankle or what. But, he got knocked out that first fight. Second fight, obviously he broke his ankle, but Dustin was easily winning that fight at the time.
well, I can only imagine when you're making that much money, like your training has to suffer a little bit. You know,
Do
you're
you
like,
think so?
I could just go in there and wing it, and
Yeah.
like
Do you think so? So put it in your perspective, right? Let's say you go to fight Floyd Mayweather or Canelo Alvarez, and you make 300 million, right? Do you feel like your training would be depleted at all, or would you still have that same type of motivation and inspiration to fight?
personally, if I'm like I do it for a different like I don't know. I could see Connor getting motivated definitely for something like that. But when he's fighting like a Cowboy Cerrone or like I feel like there has to be something to motivate him to really, really train hard because he has everything that anybody could ever ask for. He has all the
Yes.
money, he has all the fame. Like he's the face of UFC. If they don't want to, believe it or not, he's definitely the
Yeah.
face of the UFC. Bare knuckle too now. Like I've heard he's endorsed them, and
Yeah.
he's slowly like being the face of that as well. And I feel like if there's something that he really wants, I feel like this Chad Mendes fight. Is it Chad Mendes he's going against?
No, it's Chandler, Michael
Chandler,
Chandler.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel like this is one that's really motivating him, especially with everything that's happening with it. So I feel like he's gonna come out training 100%. Like he could have fought with that broken pinky toe if he wanted to, but he definitely wants to give us 100% Conor McGregor.
That pissed me off. I was like, well, if he's hurt and he has a good reason for it, and then he posted that, I was like, you might as well not even post that, man. Come
Yeah,
on.
exactly.
I was like, come on, man. Why are you doing this? Because, like I said, I'm a big, big Connor fan, man. I'm a huge Connor fan. And seeing that, I was like, damn, man, really? A pinky toe? Pop
I
that
just
shit back into place, man.
Yeah, right. I just feel like that's how motivated he is, though. He wants 100% him. Like he wants to give us the best Conor McGregor he could give us.
Yeah, for sure. I think he actually promoted. It was on the canvas. He has a beer, so he has Proper 12, the whiskey. He has a beer too. I'm trying to look through your Instagram and see if I'm seeing it. I don't remember the name of it, but I believe it was on the canvas too. There it is on the left side. It's called something. It's an Irish stout. He has a beer too. I believe that was on the canvas y'all fought on too.
Oh, that's awesome. I seen that he
Yeah,
was commenting and reposting the fights from that night.
yeah.
So I was like, that's
I was
pretty
hoping he
cool.
reposted yours, man. I was like, fuck yeah, get my boy up, get my
That'd
boy
be
up.
that'd be amazing, man. That'd be amazing.
So, do you watch UFC pretty often?
Usually every weekend I try to. I'm a big fight fan. I love the
Yeah,
fights, and when I can, I do if my kids let me.
yeah, for sure. Are you a big boxing fan too, or are you trying to stay solely like MMA?
Man, to be honest, boxing has always been boring to me. Like I
Yeah,
could never get into it because it's I guess I've gained a lot of respect for it now that I actually competed in it.
yeah,
But like watching as a fan, I'm like, man, this is boring. Like just knock him out already. But
yeah.
it's
It's
definitely it's
you
like
gotta
a
watch the right fights for sure. The
yeah,
right fighters. Like
yeah,
Terrence
exactly.
Crawford is an absolute fucking dog. Canelo obviously is a fucking dog. Person I like watching growing up was Roy Jones Jr. I mean, he was completely unorthodox with the way he fought. Um, Deontay Wilder, whenever he wasn't getting knocked out by Tyson Fury, was really good. But I
Yeah,
think I think the reason he was so good is he had so much power. He had no defense. He was able to hit him with the right and even through the guard would absolutely tear their face open. I mean, personally, for me, I prefer UFC, MMA, Bellator, stuff like that. It's just more. It's more exciting. It's more
same,
exciting.
same. There's so much more aspects to it. But
Yeah,
that being
absolutely.
said, boxing is an art in itself. Like it's definitely its own art form, and I had to learn that the hard way. I was like, I can just go in
Yeah,
there and throw some hands. But
yeah.
it's
It's
definitely,
different.
yeah, definitely.
It's a lot different for sure. Especially someone like you coming from a jiu-jitsu background. I'm sure you're looking at it like, why don't you just knee him in the face or kick him in the head? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's a lot of game plans. I never really have a game plan going in there, and that might have been my downfall. It felt like these guys have like specific game plans and they stick to them to a T. Like I'm the longer, lengthier fighter usually, so they always close the distance on me and get on the inside, and I'm like,
Yeah,
how do I deal with this? I never
yeah.
experienced it before.
What were some of the lessons you learned coming out of boxing like that?
Not to take it lightly, like
Yeah,
because I was just going like, man, I fought my whole life. Like this is gonna be another fight. Like this is gonna be kitty sauce, and there's gloves on my hands. Like this is. But the cardio that it takes, I thought it was gonna be easier because MMA, there's wrestling and jiu-jitsu, and it's a lot more draining. So I thought boxing was gonna be easier, but I was so naive and so stupid to think so because I was drained. Could have been from the weight cut because I did lose like 30 pounds that first boxing match, and it was
what'd
within
you cut to? Was it 145 or?
I was 195 when I got the call, and I only had 3 weeks. Yeah, I only had 3 weeks to make the cut, so it was like I was dying,
I
but I
think
made the
that's what
weight.
I think that's what a lot of people don't understand is not only are you going there and getting punched in the face, but the weigh-ins you have to be at this weight. And a lot of people who fight, like let's say you're at like Connor for example, he was fighting at like 145 at one point. He walks around at like 195. I'm like, he's dropping 50 pounds just to make weight.
Yeah, and that a lot of people think like, oh, that's sissy. Like, why don't you fight at the weight you walk around at? But man,
Because
they don't
nobody else does.
exactly.
The 195, like, people at 200 pounds are usually walking around at
Monsters.
230, 240.
Yeah, they're monsters.
Like
I've
Alex
suggested.
Pereira. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I thought about going to fight at 170, but the 170s are like they're huge, man. They're like
Yes.
natural athletes. Like they're like solid, you know.
Massive. Yes. And a
Exactly.
lot of people, like, you dropped from 195, you said, to 155?
45, yeah.
Bro, what the fuck? 50 pounds. So let's say you're going to fight at 185. These guys are usually walking around at 215, 220. Going in
Yeah.
there with someone that type of stature, and then they gain the weight before because Alex Pereira will gain like 20 pounds before the fight.
I
It's
seen
like,
that.
bro, you can't fight like that.
Yeah, I don't know how he did that. Ate so much to try to gain weight, and they weigh us before the fight. I only gained 5 pounds. I was like, how did that fucking guy gain 20 pounds? Like, what the heck?
That's what I'm saying. So a lot of people are like Sean O'Malley, for instance. They're like, you're a tall, lanky dude. Why don't you just gain weight and go up in weight? But if he went up in weight, they would just grab onto it. It would be done for. It would just the weight, because a lot of people don't realize especially whenever you're wrestling, like, his weight is on your chest, like, he's on you. You're feeling that weight of that person. That takes gas out of you as well, because you're trying to move around with that person on you. And I mean, I don't know when that happened, when people stopped fighting at their natural weight, but I mean, that's how it is now. You can't really change that. If you, let's say you fought at 195 or 200, bro, bro,
I mean,
bro, what?
Max Holloway would probably do it because he's a dog. He don't care the size.
I love Max Holloway, man. I love his whole, like, signature point in the middle of the canvas and just go to fucking town. And then he's talking shit. He's like, I'm the best boxer in the UFC. Me. And he's talking to Dana on the side. Me. And then he's also, missing that hook that's coming around.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I love him. I loved him and Tony Ferguson. I wish they would have fought when Tony was in his prime, man, because that would have been one of the greatest fights of all time.
That's another like favorite right there, Tony Ferguson. He's definitely
just an animal, man. And a lot of people don't know this, or maybe they don't want to admit it either, but him and Khabib were supposed to fight. I don't know if you remember that.
Uh-huh.
And Khabib all of a sudden got an illness, before the fight. And I'm telling you right now, I think Tony Ferguson would have mauled him. Because that's when Tony was in his prime, man. Tony was in his prime. I was so excited for that fight before, he ultimately dropped out, man. It's crazy.
I seen someone post Khabib's like opponents in his amateur career, and like and they're like crazy records, like 0 wins, 5 losses, and I'm like, man, they definitely picked the opponent. I mean,
the right fighters.
Management.
Yeah,
that's good management, I guess, but I don't know.
Floyd Mayweather did the same thing for a decade. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I get it. He fought Canelo whenever Canelo wasn't in his prime yet, first coming up. I mean, I get it. It makes sense. I mean, but it would have been an amazing fight. It would have been such a good fight. Jesus Christ. I would have loved to watch that fight.
Yeah, it would have been awesome.
And then, like, I watch now, like, watching old fights, like when Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell used to fight. Those were always so fucking good. They were always so fucking good.
Legendary, right? Was it Peter Griffith and who was it? Ah, man. The very first one where they're just banging the old school UFC.
The first one?
Yeah.
You talking about with the big black dude and then that white dude with sweatpants on?
I think so, yeah.
Yes, bro. It didn't even make sense. I don't even think they had weight classes back then. That's how wild it was. It was just dudes going in there to throw hands. That was it. And it was so sick, man. And I mean, I love I love it how it is now because it makes sense. I wouldn't want to watch Mighty Mouse fight Brock Lesnar, so obviously it's better now. But man, that was sick times for sure.
Yeah, definitely. The progression of it all,
Yeah, and people don't realize how good Brock Lesnar was back in the day, man. He was, dude. If you saw him, he was the type of dude back in the day, and like way back then. You saw him getting off the boat, and he was just a fucking massive tank, and you realize that your village was taken over. He was a fucking Viking, man. He's
Exactly.
just a fucking big dude, man.
His
It's
daughter even. I don't know if you
shot
follow
put,
his.
man.
Yeah,
Boom and
looks
wrestling.
just like him. Looks just like
Yes,
him. Frank
just
Frank Mir.
copy and paste, man. Fuck.
Frank Mir has a daughter too, and man, just like him. It's insane.
They look exactly the same, man. It's insane. I love combat sports. I do a little on the, or I want to do a little on the side because I just think it's so dope. I mean, I don't know how I would feel about getting punched in the face so often, but the cardio that comes with it and the shape you can be in when you do it, man, it's insane.
Definitely awakes and like shows you who you really could be if you really train, and
Oh, for sure.
discipline.
I'm sure you find muscles in your body all the time, but you don't even realize what the fuck that. Like, what is this?
Yeah, my wife's all the time like, that's the only thing I like about your cuts is I can see your abs.
So you normally walk around about 185?
Yeah, that's like my walk
Yep.
around weight. Yeah.
Yeah. So cut for you, man. And you said this one was easy, and you had to cut what 30 pounds?
Yeah, I knew about it like a couple months beforehand, so I was like, all right, let's start dieting now, cut sugar out, cut like all this stuff out, and then man, the weight just starts falling off.
Yeah.
And I got this big because I'm not as disciplined. I haven't been fighting for a year, so I just
Yeah.
been like indulging myself.
Yeah.
But it's easy once you start getting disciplined and train every day, and man, it just fell right off me.
Yeah. So what does the dieting look like for you? What are you eating every day? Do you have a meal plan? What does that look like?
I try to do like calorie counting and portions.
Hmm.
Not so much of like meal prepping or nothing like that. I still eat what I want, but I don't overindulge and like
Yeah.
go crazy with the calories. I try to burn more calories than I intake. That's my whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, as long as I'm burning 1,000 calories, I can eat like a 700 calorie meal. So
Yeah.
I
Are
try
you
to
going
like.
on a lot of runs? Are you staying on the bike? Like,
Yeah, we have a Peloton bike. My wife loves that thing, and that's what I've been using a lot. At first I was laughing at it like a Peloton bike, but it's a workout, man. It's a
yeah.
workout, and
Shit, man.
just running around the res definitely. I'm not. My knees are all jacked up from jujitsu, so I really don't like running, but you have to do it. Like there's
Yeah.
no other way you're gonna get that type of workout in other than like running, and it's a mental thing too. That you could quit whenever you want to quit, but you want to push yourself to go the extra
Yeah.
mile. So
Does that help you with your stamina a lot within the ring?
yeah, definitely it helped this fight like so much. I was running with my mouthpiece in, and just when I want to stop, I'm like, no, like one more mile, and it definitely is. It helped a lot in there because I felt the stamina is what helped me get the win this fight.
Yeah, for sure. And your speed, man. You're quick with your hands, dog. Especially with someone who is lanky as you are, to have those quick hands, dog.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. What was the length advantage? Do you have one, or was it about the same in this fight?
I want to say my wingspan was 73 and his was 70, so like 3 inches maybe.
3 inches. So you got about 3 inches on him. Shoot, man. And was he? I couldn't really tell in the fight, obviously, because obviously whenever you're fighting, it's a little different. Did you have any type of height advantage over him?
Yeah, I think he was 5'9" and I'm 5'11", so I had a couple inches on him as well.
Perfect. Yeah.
I'm
Do you feel
usually
like
the
they?
bigger fighter.
Yeah. Do you feel like that gave you more advantage?
Uh, I thought so. I knew he was going to be quick, being the smaller guy, and man, he definitely blew my expectations out of the water. He
Yeah.
was so fast. Like, yeah, I wasn't expecting him to be that fast and that
Yeah.
explosive. So it kind of like stunned me for a while. I was like, "Oh shit, he just threw 5 punches right now."
Yeah.
Like,
Whenever you're going into the first couple rounds, are you just filling out the person, or do you just go ahead and it's time to go to the game plan? It's time to put this dude's face in, inside out.
I was just talking about that. I'm realizing that I'm a slow starter. Like the first round is like a slow start for me usually. But
Yeah.
once I get in my groove, then I'm like, all right, like let's go, and I really get going after
Yeah.
that.
How long did it take you to fill this guy out?
I want to say it was until after the second round. Like once I knew my eye was in my in my socket, my cousin's like, it's still there. I was like, all right, well, let's do it then, you know. And then third round, I came out and I was like really trying to, because I knew I lost round 1 and 2, so I had to pick up the pace.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Listen, I watched the fight. It, you have a lot of fucking talent, man. I can't say that for sure. You're a very
Thank you, bro.
talented individual when it comes to athleticism, as well as your hand speed is out of this world. You beat him up pretty nicely, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know you said you don't like to see it, but like that shit was art. It's like you were
Thank you, bro.
Picasso and he was your canvas, man. You painted that shit up, man. And I want to congratulate you on the fight, obviously, and give you the most positive vibes I can give to you, man, because you do have a lot of potential and you're doing really good, bro. That fight, if that a lot of people are sliding up on my story on Instagram, Snapchat, are like, "Who is this?" I was like, "Dude, like this dude's the truth. Like he's good at what he does, and if he stays with it, he's gonna be a fucking. He already is a dog, but if he stays with it, he's gonna be a fucking dog."
Thank you, boss. That means so
Yeah.
much. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. And the way I always end my podcast is I like my guests to always give some positive advice, some positive recourse to the people that are listening. Do you have anything to give to the people that are listening today?
Man, I would just love to say if you're ever doubting yourself or if you're ever like second guessing doing what you love to do, then just just attack, man. There is no waiting. Just do it. You know, like
Yeah,
why wait? I'm the biggest procrastinator there is, and I almost didn't take this fight. I almost pulled out. I like you just got to keep going one day at a time and
yeah,
just make it. I have a saying that I say, and it's protect us as we go to war, for every day is a battle and a blessing. So that's what I love to
absolutely.
say.
I appreciate it, man. Listen, Squire, you're fucking good, bro. You're good at what you do. It was an honor to watch you and to have you on this podcast, bro. I wish you
Thank
the
you for having
absolute
me.
best. Whenever your next fight comes up, whenever that is, please let me know and let me know where I can watch it and whatnot. That way I can tune in. I love to put people on and hear other people's perspectives. That's why I have this podcast. So the fact that you're in Cali right now and I'm in fucking Atlanta is or Athens, more say, and we're able to have this conversation is amazing, bro.
Yes, sir. I appreciate the opportunity, Jay, and I couldn't thank you enough, man. Your words are inspiration.
I appreciate it, bro. Listen, I've never met someone so kind yet so fucking monster in my life, and keep that up. Like that's the fact that you can turn it on and off is it's a talent, dog. It's dope, and I look forward to seeing more of you, man. I appreciate having you on the podcast. I wish the best for you, and everything's up, man. God bless.
God bless. Thank you, Jay. Thank you. Have a
Absolutely.
good one.
You too.